Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Scrap Mechanic with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to our little base where today we're going to be building yet another vehicle. Now, in the previous video, we messed around with the idea of the controller engines, and honestly, it went better than I expected. However, I think I'm not using it to its full potential. The big thing with the controller engines is, unlike the fuel engines, it can deal with heavy weights just well. This fuel engine over here, for instance, I do adore them, especially when they're fully upgraded, but every time you add any extra weight, you have to pump up the power, and by doing so, you start to run out of fuel fairly quickly. So what I would like to see, if I can go to the extreme and build a refinery. So a mobile refinery, perhaps even a mobile refinery harvester. We'll see just how good this will work out. Now, how I want to do this is by making my own custom wheels and having only a single bearing. The reason is this will be way easier to control, but also we can have massive wheels, which I think would look absolutely amazing in potentially a mobile base in the future. Now, I know other people have already made mobile bases. I've been trying to avoid them as much as possible to see how they will work. So expect me to do some weird choices here, but I think I know what I want overall. So to begin with, what I'm going to do is just put down a flat section so that we can get started. I already have our seat here. Naturally, I get a phone call as soon as I start recording, so I am going to go with the 4-wide driver seat purely because that's what we're using on our current harvester slash all-round vehicle, and honestly, it seems to do better with things like the collector. So we're sticking with that, and let's see how we're going to set everything up. So I want the collector at the front, and I do want the refinery somewhere close by so we can just grab automatically. So the question is, what is the range on the refinery and its ability to grab from the collector? Most likely then, what I might end up doing is having the seat somewhere on top. So we have the collector, the seat on top of the collector, then the refinery behind it, making a sort of square. That is going to put a lot of weight on the front though. We'll see. We could split it up a bit more and just have the seat sort of floating in the middle. Again, we'll see as we continue. For now, let's just throw that down. Extend this so we can really see the range on this thing. And, of course, we have all those lovely spines over there, which are going to act as a test subject. I think this, then, is about as far as we can set it up. Yep, that goes in. I had that one block further back before, and that didn't work, so that's good to know. So let's get all this sorted, then. Let's put down a basic shape of where everything's going to go. So here is the core. So although it doesn't look perfectly centered, the refinery itself is a bit weird when it comes to its model and then its actual physical entity, because, as you can see here, you can actually clip the model quite a lot on both sides, and it seems like it is actually just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide, which makes it fit quite perfectly in the middle. Now, sadly, the chest is a bit off. Now, I'm not sure if this also works with its weight, if it's actually distributed correctly like that, but it does seem to be placed like this, so I'm happy with that. We can even hide it quite a lot if we want to. Again, you can clip a lot into this thing's model. So I think that's okay for the core. We then can sit at the top here. Now, thankfully, this doesn't happen. Oh, that's horrific. If the lift isn't active, as you can see, it no longer causes that problem. So it's quite easy to see around, even though we aren't in the best of positions. Just have to zoom out a bit, that's all. Next up, wheels. How are we going to control this thing? So after having a little bit of a think, there's two ways of going about this, at least in my eyes at the moment. Now, of course, there's plenty of ways of going about this, but this is just the stuff I want to do currently. When I build the mobile base, if I build the full mobile base, I think I'm going to go with 6 or more wheels, because I think that would look really, really cool. But for this, we could go with 6 wheels, so 2 sets of the custom wheels, and then just 1 set of the regular big wheels at the front for control, or we could just go with 4. And I think it all depends on how big our wheels are going to be in the end. So let's quickly throw down a small guess. Now, I haven't had to build a circle in a long time, so I expect this to be a little bit rough. Just trying to think of the last time I built a paddle in From the Depths. Now, I haven't got the corner block, sadly, but you'll get the idea. Since we don't really have slopes in this game. I'm sure it's probably ways of getting around that. Okay, then we just go like this, then that would be a 2. Yeah, that'll be a 2. That'll be a single. Just trying to think of the slope sizes once again from the depths. Thank you very much. We could make the top section a little bigger instead. That might be better overall. Well, first of all, just see how this looks when we put it on the craft in a second. I am focusing so much right now because I'm so out of practice. Hey, it actually worked out okay. Go me. I'm honestly very surprised. Okay, then we use the weld tool. Just throw it on there. So, something like that. The question is, would that even work? I mean, I think it probably would, honestly. Might be a bit of an issue because of these steps, but... And that's quite easy to scale as well, so that type of circle, yeah, that'll be fine. Need a stronger controller, but that's fine for now. And why isn't that working? Oh, it's because I'm on the lift. Yep, good test, good test. But yeah, I do think that would work, especially on the more powerful controllers to make it go much faster. If we go with that kind of size, though, we could potentially have the 6-wheel option. So we have 2 sets of that. We'll have to make it a bit more three-dimensional, though. Having it just one wide looks awful. And it would be easy to make it three-dimensional as well, since the next set wouldn't have to have all the internal bits, perhaps build that out of wood or something else, or concrete to make it look more interesting. I know, building wheels out of concrete seems a bit weird, but it looks really nice. That type of concrete, anyway. I could build them a bit larger. Now, I'm also going to put this a bit higher up. Probably about here-ish. Maybe 1 higher. We don't need that much ground clearance. In fact, I don't want that much ground clearance. Chance of this working first time is fairly slim, but still, regardless, doing a quick test. Oh, that is not stable on that bearing. Yeah, if we're going to do this, need them to stick a bit further out. Still, despite the fact it's clipping, even with it clipping, it's not the fastest thing, but yeah, that's fine. Honestly, we don't want it to be too quick. And considering how much weight this thing's carrying, and the fact we're only using 2 of the huge wheels at the back, and that's all that's driving this, that's okay. How to deal with hills? Okay, it's only getting stuck because the front literally got stuck on that rock. So, ooh, hello, stop, there we go. Yeah, front needs to be way heavier, but that's something we can fix later. Yay! We just collected a spine. Actually works okay. For a first test run, I am oddly pleased with that. Okay, yeah, so I think the large wheels are fine for turning, honestly, as long as they're a bit further out. Right now, they're clipping a bit, and the reason is... Oh, as the game lags horribly. The reason is, this needs to be more of a gap. Right now, there is literally no gap, and that keeps on grinding against it, since it isn't a complete... hold. Can't use my words today, apparently. Okay, though still, we are carrying something incredibly heavy, and this is proving this will work. It's definitely good for the base later. I think it just grabs into the spine. Yep. Love the fact that's harvesting. I can't see a thing. So this may seem very similar to how it was a second ago, but what I've done is I've moved the bearing from the top all the way down to the bottom, and that's helped out a lot. Now, I did originally extend this bit as well, but that was causing all sorts of instability issues, so I think it's gonna just have to stay that close to the support beam. I'm sure to saw an enemy. Going mad? I'm going crazy. Excellent. Making less clipping noises, and so far it hasn't had any issues with it just bending out of shape outside of when you hit something directly, and then it instantly snaps back, so that's fine. I could still make a frame around it if I so desired, but I think that's going to be okay. We could then, theoretically, have this at the front as well, which I think would be way more interesting. So here's the thing as well. Even if the wheels turn out to be completely unstable in terms of turning, we can go back to the wheels at the front. The turning was honestly not that dreadful. It was just a bit on the sluggish side, which again will be fine ultimately, especially if we have our drills at the front on some kind of piston system. So two ways of doing that is that we could have pistons with a row of drills going up and down, then control that via buttons, or we could have them extend so that we can hit things just out of range. Or a combo of the two. I mean, it wouldn't be difficult at all to use both using the controllers. That way turning wouldn't be quite as important since we're going to hit such a large area in front of us. I'm also thinking that perhaps this should be a bit wider. Right now it's a bit thin overall, but we'll get to that as we finish up the design. Thankfully, using the weld tool, it's nice and easy just to move these out and out and out. Well, the wheels still want to glitch out a little bit, seemingly, but so far, in a few little test laps I've done, the glitches haven't actually affected the controls. They just look awful when that happens. Again, we don't necessarily need these for turning, but it is nice to know we can have this, and I think a mobile base wouldn't be too difficult. Maybe on 4 wheels rather than 6, but yeah, I'd still rather have 6, just 'cause I think that'd look way cooler. Also, yes, I've just realised the front wheels are not symmetrical, but don't worry, I was about to redo them anyway. I am going to make them a little bit further away from the core. You know, this thing actually handles really well. Yeah, this thing handles perfectly. I have no problem with this. Even the bumpiness is less extreme because all the different sections of the wheels are kind of not hitting at the same time, so it's smoothing out a bit. Yep, seems okay to me. Okay, how about now? This is going to be a bit of a test. Don't expect it to make this, but honestly, doesn't necessarily need to. Oh, almost, yes! Oh, and it crushes the enemy! Well, outside of not making that, once again, didn't really expect it to. Yeah, that's actually much better than I thought it would do, considering the slight glitchiness of the wheels. Okay, let's get back to base, and let's move the wheels a bit further out, since I just don't like how it looks currently. Then we can figure out a system for the drills. Run, cow, run! I'm very happy with this. It's very satisfying to drive, actually. Okay, ignore the shaking, that's because I've just put it down from the lift. So, I think this should work. So we have 2 sets of pistons, and this is where the drills go. What do you think, Chief Engineer Mumu? Yeah, I agree. But we can't tell them that. They'll think I'm crazy. Okay, time for a test. No need to extend this any further down. Let's just go straight forwards. Oh, that's something to consider. That's going to push us back. Didn't even think about that. Perhaps having drills on the back would also be pretty good. Still, though. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to. Outside of pushing me back, yes. So, what I need is a high friction block, which I can place down at the back. Actually, I've never really looked at that stat before. And the blocks I'm currently using are pretty good for that. So all I'd need really is just a piston at the back or something. So whenever I extend the front, since I'm going to be doing that when I'm static anyway, I then also extend that piston and that will keep us still. I mean, that was very encouraging, though. I mean, that was really easy, so... If we have this so it doesn't push us back every time, that's going to be great. I mean, we could even have it so it turns left and right. That wouldn't be difficult at all. Just set this on a bearing. I mean, look at that. That's destroyed all the way forward, but sadly it pushed us so far back, they didn't keep on going. It gets stuck. That's fine. Release it. That's going to make mining so much faster than the old vehicle. And this, again, is the first prototype. If it's already doing this well, it's going to do fantastic in its final form. Okay, so initial notes then. Like I say, we need some kind of braking system for when this pushes forward. And honestly, having drills on the back might be good. That way it wouldn't get caught all the time. Rude. And now your spine's going to be devoured. Also, is this a little bit too high up? Now, thankfully, the collector is no longer integral to every connection, so I can just remove that and place it further down. Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit too high up to collect easily. Okay, so, back to base, which is just over there. It's over there, sorry. We need a braking system, maybe some more drills, depending if I have time. And we need to lower the collector. Oh, and since I haven't spoke about it, although occasionally you do hear the metal clanking, the controls are perfect. I haven't had a single major glitch at all. The controls are really easy to handle. It handles hills incredibly well. It's slow as anything. But it is able to just keep on harvesting without any issue, of course, because every time it harvests anything, it instantly refines it and puts it in the chest. So until you have a full chest, and you could always add more chests, you can keep on harvesting. So, good controls, a good first attempt at the setup. I am actually incredibly happy with today's progress. And it's making me very confident that building a mobile base is actually going to be easier than this type of refinery setup, so that's pretty good as well. So far, I haven't found anything above 6 friction. Weirdly, a lot of the plants are actually 6 friction, but also things like the concrete. Yeah, the metal isn't as good, but there we are. So, we're most likely then going to put down the concrete blocks, which is good, because I have plenty of them already. Or I could go with the plants. For a bit of a laugh, I could go with the plant. You could actually put the plants on the wheels, couldn't you? That way it'd stop moving by itself without needing the braking system. You know, that wouldn't be awful. I mean, even if we just put some concrete blocks on the wheels themselves, or the plants, like I just said, that would stop it from being moved quite as easily. How many concrete blocks do I have already? Should have quite a few. Oh, yeah, I have loads. Okay, gonna replace a load of the wheel with concrete. It will make it a bit heavier, though. That's already being a bit of a problem with the wheels. Currently, they're made out of the rusted metal, which is only a weight of 4. This is a weight of... Yeah, that's a fair bit worse. Would also make it a bit sturdier, though, as well, so it wouldn't just break to one attack. So far, not been a problem, but could be a problem later on. So, I tested it with the concrete around the edge. It did help with the friction, but, well, the extra weight was utterly horrendous, and it caused the wheel to really glitch out. In fact, I'm starting to think that I need to replace the metal pieces of this. Although the rusted metal is nowhere near as heavy as the other metal blocks, and, well, especially the concrete, I should say. It's not that great, and its durability is still super low. Better friction than the wood blocks, but only by 1, and double the weight. This is why we do testing. Well, outside of the obvious issues we've already raised, though, this is still an absolute joy to use, even if we are constantly under attack at the moment. Yeah, I will just utterly crush that. So one other thing we could do is use just 1 piston rather than 2. That way it wouldn't have quite the force that it has currently. We could also slow it down. All these things would help quite a lot. But it definitely works. Can't deny that. Just needs a bit of refinement, that's all. And it's definitely proven that a mobile base is very, very feasible, because a mobile base, in my opinion, is actually going to be easier than this. Probably not going to make it out of the scrap metal, though. It's just too heavy. Don't know why the game's lagging out so much right now. Doesn't seem to be us. Oh, no, is it? Hard to tell. Well, with that, though, I'm afraid I am all out of time for today's episode. I think we have came quite far today. Look at that. That was beautiful. And I think this as a proof of concept, similar to the last vehicle, is certainly a success. So let's go over then the things we need to change before next time. So, number one, there are still some asymmetry issues which I need to fix, which obviously I can fix off camera. This wheel currently clips into the drill. In fact, both of them do when trying to turn. Obviously, that's a problem. It doesn't actually cause any major steering issues. It's just one wheel becomes a little bit more turned than the other, and that can, well, it just reduces our turning, simply put. On top of that, the collector needs to be a bit lower down, and we need to reduce the weight. So, honestly, rebuild it with a different material. Way more friction on the wheels, so I'll need to figure out a lighter but higher friction item to use rather than rusted metal and scrap. Though saying that, the rusted metal isn't too bad, so I may just need a better braking system or something, and then also sort out the pistons at the front. Everything else, though, is working just fine. How much have I collected already? Yeah, loads of stuff. And let's collect this now before we go. Yeah, definitely need the collector to be a little bit lower down. I'm only grabbing like half of that. You know what might be better? Now I'm thinking about it, just building a crane. Building some kind of crane on the back of this thing, which can be controlled from the seat. So we plant the main vehicle using pistons, that way we can brake very easily, and then we use a crane, because small movements with the complex controllers can be problematic. If we have this, we no longer have to do those movements. So you know what? That'll be the next video, most likely building a crane. I might stick with this, might go with the crane, would like to know what everyone thinks in the comments, and with that, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff, helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Scrap Mechanic is a series you wish to see continued in the future. A lot of work to go, but I am very, very happy with what we've done today. Limited time, lots of progress. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.